Why? Why these indigenous tree species are important? Because they are ours. They are our heritage. They are our treasures. They are the crowning glory of the Philippine forest. My name is David Castor. Um, I've been working for conservation for more than 33 years. Presently, I am now the curator of the Negros Forest Park Biodiversity Conservation Center, which we have started during the time that formerly the Negros Forest and Ecological Foundation. Sometime in 1993, we set up this center. It started in 1986. I saw the devastation of the forest. It saddened my heart to see the fallen logs, the sounding thud of the trees. It was also the heyday of insurgency during that time. My focus now is how our conservation initiatives will continue, where we are challenged to restore our biodiversity. Our endemic trees provides many benefits. One is providing the really clean oxygen. And then, aside from that, they are the source of life. Since each single tree could store and absorb water during raining time like this one. A single tree could just store water from 300 to 500 gallons in one raining time. And then, they will not release that outrightly. In it, every tick of a second, a droplet is being released. So you could just imagine millions of trees on that particular forest are releasing every tick of a second millions of droplets. That's the reason why we could hear the swishing sound of the river whenever there is a disturbance of typhoon or storm with strong winds blowing the trees. These endemic trees still will not be affected by this strong onslaught of the wind. Whereas the exotic one, which some people think they are fast growing, and yet they are easily toppled down along the streets, along the areas they are planted because they are shallow rooted. Compare to our indigenous trees, which are anchored down deep on the ground. That's why they are excellent. They are a good anchorage, especially the riverbank, the slopes. For example, the trees has the height of 100 feet or 150 feet. Almost 50% of that, or 50 feet down deep on the ground, they penetrate. That's why they make the ground solid. Because they're really the habitat or the home for our wildlife. Our wildlife are so precious, in which some people doesn't really care about them. Some people doesn't think they are important. They just kill them, they just hunt them, or they destroy the habitat. They cut all those trees, and maybe they sell it. They want to cut these trees just to have an income. Since the introduction of industrialization, especially in agriculture, it is the style of the Western farming, which they grow a monocrop. The same thing happened to us in the early 80s and 90s, where people planting a monocrop trees, especially exotic that came from Central America or some parts of Asia, which they thought are fast growing. And yet, it affects the ecosystem. When we say planting of trees, especially endemic trees, we have to plant also a variety of species. Whereas, if we plant a single tree, or if we plant many trees, we call it biodiverse. several species of trees are being planted in a particular area. So we call it intercropping with some other trees. So there is an interaction. When we plant a single tree, we know that the plant and trees are also a host to a particular insect or some kind of small animals that are dwelling in it. And yet, if you plant a single species, so it could cause an outbreak because there's no other insects that could check or could interact with this single kind of maybe a pest. That's why if there is a monocropping system, there is also an outbreak. But if we plant several species, each single tree hosts a kind of insect or a kind of animal. That's why there is an interaction among them, check and balance within the population of these small animals. There is a personal commitment to myself that I already made a promise to continue on this advocacy. That's why even until now, I keep on growing trees, especially endemic and those that are hard to find, seedlings or seeds. That's why I also posted some kind of seeds on my Facebook, and many people also have realized the importance of that, and they told me, Sir Davoy, Manong Davoy, I also wanted to follow what you're doing. So there is also a kind of effect on what I'm doing to some other people who loves to pick up the seeds or grow seedlings. And I told them, I am not alone. We are already many of us doing that. So I'm happy. I'm doing this not for myself. I'm telling the young generation, young kids are coming here before. Someday, you will become just like me and then continue on what I am doing to have this challenge in continuing the effort, the initiative that we have done. Because as of now, our forest cover in the country is barely around 16% forest cover. That according to the environmental experts and scientists, for an area to be declared as ecologically balanced area, there should be a ratio of 60% for any development and 40% forest cover. And yet, throughout the Philippines, we have only barely 16%. Whereas in Negros, it's a big question. Negros Occidental, we already barely have 4% forest cover. And until now, even our forests are keeping smaller and smaller because of some kind of development. In the uplands, there are several communities, several development of cutting for agriculture, and maybe a resort or maybe a road right now. In fact, there is a proposed, and they started already, a new road system that will connect Patagsilay to Minapasok and Calatrava that will traverse the Northern Negros Natural Park. It's a sad thing to do where people looking for development, as they said, and yet they fail to realize the importance of biodiversity, the last remaining bastion of our forest within the Northern Negros Natural Park. In fact, Northern Negros Natural Park is the largest remaining forest cover within the island of Negros. We have around 28,000 to 30,000 forest cover. And then every day, it is getting smaller if nothing can be done. So it's a challenge not for me, it's a challenge for the younger generation, especially you who are listening or looking at this video, that we will continue on the fight to conserve our biodiversity, to protect our forests, and then we will have a sustainable life life support system, the rivers, the streams, and the springs, the birds, the animals. We have our moral obligation to protect them. Thank you very much.